Hi everybody, welcome to the week in Marvel Avengers Alliance. Today is Saturday, September 3rd. And we're going to call this the White Tiger Edition. So, um, except for the White Tiger, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Obviously the game is shutting down. We know about that, but until September 30th happens, at least for the videos on the channel, I'm going to largely be disregarding that. Not in the sense that I'm pretending that it's not happening or will not acknowledge it. Obviously, I've acknowledged it twice before. But we're just going to do business as usual until then, to give people some enjoyment in the game. And White Tiger is immensely that enjoyment. Um, she's she's a destructive force of nature. She is absolutely incredible for what she does. If PvP was a home, White Tiger is she is a home wrecker. The fact that she is able to turn people off pretty much fully, I mean, she's crazy. And as a matter of fact, it looks like she's about ready to train. So what I'm going to do is bring her over to 12-2. This was a little nugget I discovered only too close to the end of the game, is that when people had very, very little experience to get to their level, I wasn't simming them, basically, because the sim was kind of a waste. If they need like 200 to ding, why would you put them into the sim? It's kind of stupid. So I was always leveling them out in normal missions, and I didn't realize it until somewhat recently. Like, my god, how stupid am I? 12-2 provides a tremendous amount of experience, and 12-2 is really good for people's early levels. So I think what I'm going to do here is take a look at some pieces of the Cosmic set and see what I've got. So quick action enemy suppression. Cosmic Fury increases damage taken by 5% every time. Ooh, that actually sounds pretty good. I think I will bring the Cosmic Decimator. Should pair that off with the Rectifier, but... So, I mean, watch what she does at the beginning of combat here, and if the game was going to be alive the way we normally expect it to be, she just could not exist in this form, because, I mean, look, that was a quick action that did over 2k damage. Mostly because the entire team has been shut off at this point in time. I mean, everybody has been one barred. And what can you do to get out of that? This is a border debuff that can't be cleansed, and it has no timer. So this would last forever. And the only thing that I think could have fixed this in PvP is possibly fear immunity. All enemies gain primal fear, reducing accuracy, blah blah blah, preventing stat increasing effects. You wouldn't have even been able to neurotrope your way through that. Like, okay, you're gonna nerf me into the ground, but I'm gonna go ahead and just buff myself back up past what you've done to me. Yeah, well, that's not possible. I mean, I really can't imagine what would have been the counter to her. I mean, I don't think a FISA triage would have worked. I mean, she's a nightmare. She'd be in every team. And for 90 CP, which is not that hard to have at this point in time. People would have her in gold. They'd have her in diamond. She'd be everywhere. And like I've said before, I think with people like Original Angel, or, you know, big time healers like P5 Colossus, or Fiza and Cloak and Dagger, I mean, you'd never be able to get out ahead, because you'd be swinging a flower with how turned off she makes you. I mean, you'd be swinging a blade of grass at that point in time. And if you're not able to damage people through their healing and healing buffs, like from the Staff of Asclepios and things like that, it'd be nuts. And if you add somebody, I mean, I think she doesn't stack with Kurth, because you're already one bard, as it were. But if you can imagine adding Kurth to her, further turning everything off, I mean, it'd be absolute nutso toboggan at that point in time. The only thing that maybe would work is killing her and then maybe her effect going away, similar to, say, Kurth runes and null meteor stacks and everything. But I mean, she would... I called her in the first video, I basically called her Superman, because of what she does. I mean, she's the most powerful thing I think I've ever seen in the game at this point in time. And not necessarily because of her damage, which is very good, considering mine is only level 6. I mean, look at that counter damage there. I mean, that was well over 4k, and that's somebody who is level 6 and has no ISOs. And I mean, yes, she has been bumped up by the Singularity Matrix, but it still doesn't account for all of it. It's because she has turned off defenses on the enemy team. So, I mean, think about a knight going into combat wearing heavy field plate and an incredibly tight helm with very little visibility, because everything is covered in shield and just, you know, riveted plate and everything, and her coming by and just snapping her finger and it's tissue paper at that point in time. That's what she does, and that's why she does so much damage, is because enemy defenses are removed. She doesn't have to be that strong if all she needs to punch through is tissue paper. And, I mean, clearly she would be everywhere at this point in time. I mean, if you thought Fiza and Cloak and Dagger teams were everywhere, you would see her in your nightmares. And plus, being a generalist, you know, something that I haven't touched on yet that was brought out by a few people in my line chat, that I hadn't even processed yet, because I was so in awe of her. You have scrapper tendencies and tactical tendencies that you could have applied to her. I mean, yeah, there is even Infiltrator and Bruiser, but I mean, Tactician Battle Plan would be phenomenal for her. I mean, Infiltrator, it would be decent, but Blaster and Bruiser, probably not so much. I would say Infiltrator would be a distant second to how strong the Tactician and the Scrapper ISO would have been for her. If not both. I mean, very clearly, she could have run both. Anything that you think made FISA so good for ISOs would have done that for her. Low health, though, so she would need some help, but she's not really in any danger if she shut down people's chance to crit and hit and even do damage. She's resistant to stun and fear. So if her Jade Tiger amulet is a fear effect, 2 white tigers may not be able to cancel themselves out. But it'd be funny, each white tiger would be sitting there duking it out to the last while their respective teams have died around them and just they're fighting in the arena like gladiators and all their friends are just corpses around them. The preemptive counter is not super frequent. It's, I would say, average. It's not over the top, but it's not super rare either, the way Master Assassin used to be for a few people. And she's immune to dots. She restores health and stamina every round. They basically gave you a goddess to finish the game out. I can only imagine how strong she'd be paired up with like Ronin or something, but White Tiger Kick, melee, and unarmed. So if you wanted to, you got Bloody on there, which she does like bleed, so you could have given her Bloody. It's not looking like a Mauling could have gone there. Probably would have had a Sudarasu, I think. Yeah, so she's got a Sudarasu, so she would have been capable of being stealthy if she needed to walk around a Drainer. And she has Mauling, so 2 phenomenally high-powered ISOs could have been slotted right onto her level 1. Her White Tiger Claws is melee and slashing. Again, Mauling is available. However, Sudarasu is not. I would potentially go Sudarasu on the level 1 and Mauling on the quick action. It's up every turn. Why not spread a quick action Mauling if you wanted to? Over here, the beast that hunts is melee and slashing. Obviously, Mauling drops off, but Vibranium shows up. Not that you needed to make her more powerful by having her have Vibranium slashing attacks. I mean, she's already chopping up tissue paper. Now she is capable of chopping up 82 layers of tissue paper stacked at once. Has Vorpal. Also available. And obviously not Sudarasu. And then finally on the level 9... buff magic, Jade Tiger God. Greatly increases accuracy, attack, evasion, defense, and evasion. Attacks gain Ethereal Strike and Hemorrhaging. Taming the Tiger God becomes Challenge of the Tiger God. And then she exploits attrition, bleeds, and Paragon. So, she gets that from her level 1. But, let's see if... yeah. Can't do pressurized on the level 2, the quick action. Can't do it on beast that hunts either. But they're not unarmed, which is why that's happening. The level 1 is, and that already does pressure points, so you don't even need to worry about the pressurized ISO for her. But, I mean, she would have been amazing. Now, I'm hearing that Adam Warlock would be amazing too. He'll have to come in another video. My Spec Ops, I'm doing it weird. I'm not completely skipping my way through it, but at the same time, I am skipping a few things. Like, I stupidly skipped the PvP task, and then turned around and thought I was on the PvP task after I was forced to refresh the game. It was focused on WoW for a little while. I did practice PvP, and I was like, why didn't I get... Oh, yeah, that's right. I skipped it like an hour ago. Um, but since I have to go back and do mission 1 for Epic Magus, I'm going to get the 3 stars over here. This is currently being researched. And it is 8 hours. I'm about ready to set this video to render and go to bed, so I don't have to worry about spending money skipping that one. It's all going to occur while I'm asleep. The day one and the day and a half one, I definitely did tell it to skip. Some of the longer ones, I was just like, alright, yeah, you know what, go ahead and skip. Probably not going to be able to go out with everybody being 15. It'll be close. Phyla is definitely going to get bumped up. White Tiger is going to get bumped up. I'm hearing I should definitely work with Adam Warlock when I get him. Having those guys 13 or higher by the time this shuts down would be great. But, I mean, you know, we've still got a ton of time. Today is only the 3rd. We still have literally 3 weeks of this. And while we are not getting the absolute cracked open vault that Marvel Avengers Alliance 2 has done, if you have not seen my previous video, or if you've left MA2 behind at some point because you didn't like it, if you even have so much as 10, 15, 20 gold in that game, reinstall it, and I'm telling you, just go hog wild. There are things that you can buy for 10 gold that give you back 50. So like I said in the previous video, it's almost like you're pyramid scheming yourself. I mean, you can get up to 3,000 some odd gold in about 2 minutes. Maybe less than a dozen clicks. That's how bank breaking they've done in that game. I would like to see them do it here in this game too. I would like to be able to click on the store and see everything be 1 gold or free. If they really are going to close down, fulfill people's like long-term wishes. Obviously, we're not going to get things like Hand of Apocalypse and Lanterns of Doom and cubes for people who missed out and stuff like that. But these things are here. Knock them down to gold. Like, I'd love to pick up a Hex one and play around with it if it was just 1 gold. Lightning Rod, not too much, but maybe I would try, like, Beta Ray Bill and Electra with that. ISO loaded shotgun. I already know exactly what this does. I used to see this on Pesty Enchantress teams because it was up every single round. It was kind of like a poor man's GG prototype. I would definitely get a Traumatic Post, have fun with it. An Enchanted Curlbar I'd pick up. Rocket Pistol, already have one. I wouldn't even go near the Taste of Thunder or the Target Pistol. Cat's Claws, maybe. Crystal Shiv, maybe. Actually, no, I would say definitely to both of those. Ankle Biter, I would get and pair it up with the Tactician suit where debuffs become a quick action, because then it would turn Ankle Biter, tagged as a debuff, into a quick action. I already got a Transcran, and I already have an Experiment and an Iron Star. Witch Hunter, nothing particularly special there, except for an AoE remove buffs. It'd be tempting to get for 1 gold, but in all honesty, there's no mystique about that. I obviously know exactly what that does. I have a Mutant's End, I have a bunch of Sonic Fists. The toolbox, nothing particularly mysterious or exciting there. I have a Girl's Best Friend. Honestly, I would get a Skull Ripper and a Mind Killer and play around with the Weak Bind and things like maybe the Psychic Sacrificer Staff or something like that. I'd complete my worthy items. I'd get the ISOs needed and just top all of these out. And I have a few that are already topped out at this point. I think the Mighty Skull was one that I was able to upgrade recently when I won a bunch of black ISOs, I believe it was. And I was like, let me check what I... Oh, good, I can do one with this. And it wound up being the skull. I think if I type in ISO infused, or just ISO, I can find them quickly. Yep, so I have a ISO infused Mighty Mace, which of course is the anti-null one. And I have the ISO infused Mighty Skull, which is the kind of cool one that does Third Charm and Dark Forces and Shaken. This would be, I would definitely try to experiment around with this one, and maybe try like videos on it of as Doug had pointed out, Back from War and FISA and Third Charm, and see if I could die 3 times. For non-ISO infused ones, I have a... There's the ISO ones. I have axes, I have hammers, I have maces, I have skulls, and I have the sword. So that's the anti-Mach one with the bleeding. That's the anti-Graythoth one. Mighty Mace is anti-null. Immune to pain. Scrin. I mean, you've got exhaustion in there. And pain. Mighty Axe. Immune to the opportunist debuffs. I believe Sin comes in at that one. But this would also be pretty good against Scrin, because she likes to spread those. So, well, there you go, guys. Here is the week in Marvel Avengers Alliance. If you did have to do PvP tasks, know that the 2 that I did seem to be exactly where the meta ended up. I didn't see a white tiger in there, and I didn't see anybody nerfing their teams. I'm split in my mind on this. I would kind of say, hey, people, nerf your PvP team so people can go through incursions easy and practice PvP tasks easy. But then again, if people were still trying to think of interesting things, or being like, man, I just got Phyla-Vel, let me test her against Physas and Cloak and Daggers in the meta, and everybody has just put in like Human Torch and Thing on their defense, then it kind of does a disservice. So it's very hard to make a decision on that one. I mean, obviously nerfing your defense would be great for a lot of people, but for the people who actually still want to test and grind out some ideas and knowledge, then nerfing it doesn't really do you a good service when you're trying to experiment with one of those. So I've got some ideas left. I'll still be doing videos, and the week in Marvel Avengers Alliance will hopefully be guaranteed until it's closed up. I mean, I said I was going to do it every single weekend, and I've done that. I think I've cleared a year where I haven't missed a weekend yet, and I'll certainly ride it out to the end of the show over here. So that's it, guys. That is the week in Marvel Avengers Alliance. We'll call this one the White Tiger edition. Didn't do any fancy dancy music. It's late. I'm tired. Want to record it. Set it to render while I sleep. And then I'll upload it. Enjoy, everybody. See you soon.